Kali Yuga Pavana Harinam Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Okay, Hare Krishna everybody. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from the 4th canto of the Bhagavat Purana. So the chapter is the 22nd, entitled Pṛthu Mahārāja's meeting with the Kumaras. And we are up to the 54th verse today. Okay, so please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. Okay, so we'll recite the shloka together. You can just repeat after me. And then we'll go through the word-for-word translation, the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And then I'll try to speak something before we all take breakfast. Hare Krishna. Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam. Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam. Haryakṣam Draviṇam and Vṛkam. Haryakṣam Draviṇam and Vṛkam. Sarvesham Lokapalanam. Sarvesham Lokapalanam. Dadharaika Pṛthu Dadharaika Pṛthu Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam. Haryakṣam Draviṇam Vṛkam. Sarvesham Lokapalanam. Dadharaika Pṛthu Prabhus. Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam. Haryakṣam Draviṇam Vṛkam. Sarvesham Lokapalanam. Dadharaika Pṛthu. Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam. Haryakṣam Draviṇam Vṛkam. Sarvesham Lokapalanam. Dadharaika Pṛthu. Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam. Does anyone want to try reciting the verse? Vijitāśvam Dhūmrakeśam Haryakṣam Draviṇam Vṛkam Sarvesham Lokapalanam Didhārayika Pṛthu. Okay, we'll go through the word for word. Vijitāśvam, of the name Vijitāśva. Dhūmrakeśam, of the name Dhūmrakeśa. Haryakṣam, of the name Haryakṣa. Draviṇam, of the name Draviṇa. Vṛkam, of the name Vṛka. Sarvesham, of all. Lokapalanam, the governing heads of all planets. Didhāra, accepted. Ekaha, one. Pṛthu Mahārāja, Gunan, all qualities. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After begetting 5 sons named Vijitāśva, Dhūmrakeśa, Haryakṣa, Draviṇa and Vṛka, Pṛthu Mahārāja continued to rule the planet. He accepted all the qualities of the deities who governed all other planets. Purport. In each and every planet there is a predominating deity. It is understood from Bhagavad Gita that in the sun there is a predominating deity named Vivasvan. Similarly, there is a predominating deity of the moon and of the various planets. Actually, the predominating deities in all the other planets are descendants from the predominating deities of the sun and moon. On this planet Earth, there are 2 Kshatriya dynasties, and one comes from the predominating deity of the sun, and the other from the predominating deity of the moon. These dynasties are known as Surya Vaṅsha and Chandra Vaṅsha, respectively. When monarchy existed on this planet, the chief member was one of the members of the Surya dynasty, or Surya Vaṅsha, and the subordinate kings belonged to the Chandra Vaṅsha. However, Maharaj Pṛthu was so powerful that he could exhibit all the qualities of the predominating deities in other planets. In the modern age, people from Earth have tried to go to the moon, but they have not been able to find anyone there. What to speak of meeting the moon's predominating deity? The Vedic literature, however, repeatedly informs us that the moon is full of highly elevated inhabitants who are counted amongst the demigods. We are therefore always in doubt about what kind of moon adventure the modern scientists of this planet Earth have undertaken. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We'll just recite the translation once more. Please repeat after me. After begetting 5 sons named Vijitāśva, Dhūmrakeśa, Haryakṣa, Draviṇa and Vṛka, Pṛthu Mahārāja continued to rule the planet. He accepted all the qualities of the deities who governed all other planets. Okay. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kedamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyaham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I just request the blessings of all the Vaishnavas here today. I don't have the intelligence to discern who a pure devotee is, because I am certainly not one. So any of you could be, for all I know, a pure devotee, and it would be very offensive for me to be speaking in front of you. So I, first of all, request your forgiveness, and I also request your blessings that I can say the right words at the right time so that we can all please our spiritual masters and come closer to Krishna. Prabhupada, in I think it's in the introduction or the preface, he says this verse, Tadvag vishargo janathaga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abadhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashon kitani yach chranvanti gayanti grananti sadavaha. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Tat Sat, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. That's how he starts this Srimad Bhagavatam. Such a massive feat, a gargantuan task that he undertook upon the request of his spiritual master. His spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj, simply told him, when they first met, actually the first instruction he gave him was, when you get money, print books and preach this philosophy, this Krishna consciousness in the English language. So Srila Prabhupada took that simple instruction, and with that he traveled across the globe 11 times in the space of 12 years, I think it was, right until the very last day, like just before I was hearing a class by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, and it was actually his last lecture before he left his body. And he spent the whole time just talking about what Srila Prabhupada did before he left his body. So absorbed in his spiritual master at the time of death, just remembering his guru. And he was explaining how Srila Prabhupada, his health was getting worse, and two sort of prominent figures in India had come to visit him, and they were telling him, you should go somewhere for a change of air, change of weather. So they said, you should go to Rishikesh. And Prabhupada actually, he kind of lit up. He was thinking, I've never been to Rishikesh before. And he thought, okay, I'll go. So he goes to Rishikesh with, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, and a few other personal servants. And for, I think, a few weeks, they were just, enjoying taking bath in the Mother Ganga flowing really powerfully there. And then suddenly a storm comes, and this very heavy storm. They can hear these violent winds blowing outside, so they're stuck inside this cabin. And one night, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj is there serving Srila Prabhupada. They actually have rosters so that someone is always with him. His health was so severe at that point in time. If you see pictures of Srila Prabhupada just before he finishes his manifest pastimes here, he's basically just skin and bone. And so he's there in the mosquito net, and he wakes up suddenly and says to His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj that I want to go to Vrindavan. It's time for me to go to Vrindavan. I'm ready to leave my body. And Bhakti Swami Maharaj, his whole body is like, what's happening? So he runs downstairs and tells Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He also is. They both run upstairs. Prabhupada, what do we do? So they get a van ready. They drive to Vrindavan. So like that, in the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami instructs of many different. There's 64. This isn't in the Nectar of Instruction, but in the Nectar of Devotion, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he explains 64 processes of devotional service, and of those, there are 9 prominent processes, beginning with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, Archanam, like that. There are 9 core processes which we have. Also, it's categorized. There are 5 specific things which we do as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We have 2 paths. One is the Vaidhi Marg and the Pancharatrika Marg. So one is worshipping the deities according to the instructions given by Narad Muni, and the other is just being absorbed in the chanting of the holy name. It's explained that Eka Krishna Nama Sarva Papa Kshaya Navavidhi Bhakti Purna Haite Hoy. I think that's right. So basically, one name of Krishna can purify one of all of their past lives of sinful activity. Just one single name of Krishna can cleanse us of thousands of lifetimes of sinful activities. More than we can even conceive of committing. That many sinful activities can be wiped out with one single name of Krishna. The second line says that all of these 9 processes of devotional service are completely filled by chanting the Maha Mantra. So, like that, there are many, many different activities involved in devotional service, and because we don't have a taste for chanting the holy name, even one name attentively, all of these different activities are given to us. So, one of those activities is to live in the Dham, and it's said that to pass away in the Dham is one goes straight back to Goloka Vrindavan, to leave one's body, give up one's life in the holy Dham. So like that, Srila Prabhupada says, let's go to Vrindavan. And they're in Vrindavan, and I'll try and maybe cut the story short, but basically all the devotees are hearing, Prabhupada's coming back to Vrindavan. They get so ecstatic, we're going to see Prabhupada. And then he comes and he explains to them all that, they see the situation is actually quite serious. And so they're all thinking what to do, and they all meet together and they discuss, and they say, Prabhupada, if we pray for you to get your health back, then maybe, by those prayers you'll be able to keep preaching. Can we have your permission to do that? And seeing that desperate, loving situation of his disciples, Srila Prabhupada agrees. Okay, if it satisfies you, you can pray for me for my health. And after that, he actually starts getting his health back, and he gets kind of invigorated. The whole time he's still translating these books that we're reading today in this condition. He's constantly engaged in preaching like that, and giving instructions to the managers who are running the temples all over the world. And so then he's getting his strength back, and he decides suddenly that he wants to go to London, then New York, then I can't remember the order, but basically 5-6 different countries to do more preaching in that state. And so they agree, and Prabhupada goes, and he says that for a warrior, it is not proper to die lying on a bed. A warrior should die in the battlefield. So Srila Prabhupada, like that, who is the embodiment of a preacher, a Goshtyanandi, is going back into the battlefield. He gets to London, and there in London, his condition worsens again. So like that, Srila Prabhupada is constantly and always engaged in preaching. And he's saying here at the beginning of his greatest, offering, which is this Srimad Bhagavatam, which we study every day here in the temple, that he, who is someone who has such a massive impact on the world, was unable to, someone who has irregularly composed these literatures, although it's irregularly composed, because it is speaking about such exalted personalities as Pṛthu Mahārāja, right, and the Supreme Lord, the four Kumaras, all of these sublime personalities, because it is concerning them and their activities, their relationships, their qualities, their forms. Anyone who hears it, who is intelligent, will rejoice in hearing these activities. So today we are very fortunate. Sorry to start on a heavy note. I was just recently hearing that class when it just came out. But yeah, we are so fortunate to be hearing about Pṛthu Mahārāja. And specifically we're hearing about his qualities. And to glorify the qualities and to hear the glories of the qualities of a devotee of Krishna is so auspicious. Pṛthu Mahārāja, a whole chapter basically is given to his glorious qualities because he has so many. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati kinchana sarvair gunas tatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena dasi sati dhavato bahi. That one who has love for Krishna has all of the good qualities of the demigods just innately. But one who does not have any love for Krishna, despite being an expert husband, wife, despite being a perfect citizen, perfect king, despite doing everything perfectly according to Dharma, if he does not have this love for Krishna, then he is outside, wandering around, being pushed by the whims of his mind and senses. So like that, Pṛthu Mahārāja is a Shakti-avesh avatar. So he's a living being, but he is empowered with a potency of the Supreme Lord to rule citizens. And that is because he is a pure devotee. So he has all of these qualities of the demigods. And it's quite interesting. Prabhupada explains two specific deities here in the purport. He says that the predominating deities and all the other planets are descendants from the predominating deities of the sun and moon. And that on this planet Earth we have two dynasties coming in the Kshatriya Varnashram system, both coming from either the sun or the moon. And it said that Pṛthu Mahārāja, like the god of the sun, the sun god Vivasvan, he has this quality of intense power, intense effulgence, and he exacts taxes from the citizens, like the sun absorbs the ocean into the sky, and then he pours back all of that in welfare and protection to all of the citizens indiscriminately, like the sun pours down rains. And the sun doesn't just pour down rains on the land, the sun pours down rains on the ocean as well, where there's no need for water. So like that, Pṛthu Mahārāja, he gives mercy to everyone, all of his citizens. It's said that a proper leader takes care of every single living being within their jurisdiction. His Grace Bhavananda Prabhu was telling on Srila Prabhupada's appearance day this year that one time they were walking, Bhavananda Prabhu was in charge of a particular temple, and they were walking through the gardens, and he saw the brahmacharis who were staying in the ashram there. They had this tendency to leave their gamchas draped over the balcony, and whenever the wind would blow, those gamchas would blow everywhere. They'd be hanging in trees or like strewn across the floor, and he was always telling them off. And now he's walking with Prabhupada, and he sees that, and he feels embarrassed, and so he says, Prabhupada, I don't know why they do this. I can't remember. Prabhupada said something like, I can't remember what Prabhupada said, but they keep walking, and Srila Prabhupada points at these 3 banana trees that are growing there. And Bhavananda Prabhu looks, and he's a bit like, what's he trying to say? And he says, he sees that the banana trees have gone kind of yellow. And Prabhupada says, why are these banana trees going yellow? And Bhavananda Prabhu says, I'm not in charge of the plants, I'm not in charge of the garden. I'm looking after the And Prabhupada says, why are these banana trees going yellow? And he realizes that Prabhupada is instructing him that you are responsible for, these are living beings, these plants, even these banana trees, are living beings. And if you're taking this position of superiority, authority, then you're responsible for the health, the well-being of all of these citizens. So like that, a responsible king, like the sun, exacts taxes appropriately, and they pour them back indiscriminately to all of the members of the society. And then it's said like the moon. This is really beautiful, because you think of the sun, right? The sun is quite harsh. No one can really look directly at the sun. And maybe you've met someone, a personality like that before, someone who is difficult to actually look them in the eyes because they're so powerful, they're so intimidating. Like that, the sun can be kind of intimidating, but it's said that Pṛthu Mahārāja is also like the moon. And the moon is so pleasing to look at, It's said that the moon is like the king of all the stars, of luminaries. Krishna says in the night sky, he is the moon. Of stars, I am the moon. The moon is so beautiful. Its light is cooling and it's gentle. And like that Pṛthu Mahārāja, he would please his citizens by his peaceful and gentle, not only words and deeds, but just his own mentality. His mentality was so peaceful that when others were in his presence, they would feel peaceful. I don't know, maybe you've met someone like that as well, with that quality. What's so interesting is that it's so rare to find someone who has that quality of the moon and the quality of the sun at the same time. And that is the quality of a Vaishnava. They are very, very hard to pin down. I was recently listening to a class by my Guru Maharaj. He was explaining this metaphor of, again, the moon, reflected in like a bowl of water or oil or something. The wind blows and the water starts moving, right? And it looks like the moon reflection is itself shimmering or moving. But the original moon, which is being reflected, is completely still. Not only is it completely still, but it's very, very, very far away. So like that, every living being, actually, we are originally servants of Krishna. Jivara Swarupa hoy, Krishna Nityadas. The original constitutional nature of a living being, anything that's alive, even those banana trees, their original nature is to serve Krishna with love and humility and devotion. But we become covered with ignorance, with this desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. And in that state we take shelter of the modes of material nature. So like the moon's reflection, which is shimmering in the water, when a living being covers themselves in this womb of material nature, they appear to be under the modes of material nature. They appear to be sometimes suffering, sometimes happy, sometimes active, sometimes lethargic. So like that, the living being, who is actually very, very far away, who is originally up in Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna, appears to be down here in this material world. And so when one comes to the platform of pure devotion, they are no longer under that covering of the material modes, and so they are completely transcendental to these dualities. Ichcha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapaha. That all living beings, Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, that all living beings are born into delusion arising from the dualities of attachment and hatred. So all of these qualities which cover the original nature of the soul are born from duality of attachment and aversion. And a pure devotee is one who has come out of that entanglement. It's described Chitraketu Maharaj emerges from that entanglement like an elephant emerges from muddy water. You can just visualize that. A pure devotee has come out of this contaminated state and has therefore transcended these modes. And that is how a pure devotee can have these inconceivable qualities of sometimes appearing like the sun, very, very powerful and intimidating, and sometimes appearing like the moon, which is sweet and pleasing. It's described by his disciples that Srila Prabhupada is also as hard as a thunderbolt in chastising his disciples, but at the same time he was as soft as a lotus flower. Someone else told me that apparently Prabhupada once instructed that we should be as fired up or as intense as an English colonialist, but we should be as soft-hearted as a Bengali mother. So like that, we have to bring these apparently opposing qualities together as Vaishnavas. And that naturally happens, as Pṛthu Mahārāja says, Sarvair gunas tatra samasate sura. All of the qualities of all of the demigods become manifest in one who has love for Krishna. Prabhupada goes on to explain how so we have these two dynasties coming from the sun and the moon. Does anyone know the avatar who appeared in the sun dynasty? The avatar of Vishnu who appeared in the sun dynasty? Yeah, Lord Ramachandra. And does anyone know the avatar of Vishnu who appeared in the Chandravangsha, the moon dynasty? Come on. Krishna! Yeah, Krishna is none other than he's the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, right? So he is a Kshatriya also, you can say. And he is therefore the king, the heir of the Chandra dynasty. These two dynasties, they rule at different times in India and they rule in different places in India. And Prabhupada explains here that when monarchy was still present and the rulers of the kingdom were still qualified, this system was bona fide because these kings are coming in a line which is given and tied to Shastra. These days we don't find such personalities, and so naturally we've moved towards sort of governance of the people by the people. Rather than having someone who we don't trust and we don't find these exalted qualities in, we elect someone for a temporary term, and we kick them out and elect someone else for a temporary term, and give ourselves a sense that we have control over who's ruling us and some kind of independence and freedom. But actually we find in modern democracy that, again, the same issue is there, that the rulers, the leaders are not qualified with this with these qualities of the demigods, which come to one who has love for God. Instead, they are typically engaged in economic, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, materialistic life, gathering wealth, enjoying the senses, and being thus engaged, they lead the people that they are governing in such a direction. However, Prabhupada in one purport, I think it's coming up actually, he says that even in democracy, if we just add Krishna, it doesn't matter if it's monarchy, democracy, oligopoly, autocracy, whatever. As long as we add Krishna, then the whole system becomes perfect. And so just by spreading this Krishna consciousness movement, just by going and chanting in the streets, on Harinam, Sankirtan, just by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, just by ourselves trying to become, examples of Krishna consciousness, the society itself becomes Krishnaized, and that spreads And so the whole thing becomes auspicious. Finally, towards the end of the purport, Prabhupada explains that in the modern age, people from Earth have tried to go to the moon, but they have not been able to find anyone there. What to speak of meeting the moon's predominating deity? The Vedic literature, however, repeatedly informs us that the moon is full of highly elevated inhabitants who are counted amongst the demigods. We are therefore always in doubt about what kind of moon adventure the modern scientists of this planet Earth have undertaken. So yeah, Prabhupada is making a comment here about how space travel in the modern scientific sense actually can be seen as very, very mundane when you compare it to the potencies of one who is adept in yoga. It's understood that the gradation of elements moves from gross to subtle. If we're moving from like Earth has all 5 sense perceptions attributed to it. If you find, a solid object, it has taste, it has fragrance, it has form, it has a scent, and you can touch it and feel it, right? When you move to now water only has 4, because water doesn't have any taste. It doesn't have any fragrance. You can taste it, you can see it, you can touch it, but yeah, you can't smell it. Then if you move to fire doesn't have any taste or fragrance. If you move to air, now it doesn't have any form. And then if you move to ether, you can't even touch it. So like that, it becomes more and more subtle. The next 3 elements actually given in the Sankhya philosophy are mind, intelligence, and false ego. So similarly, in that order, they become more and more subtle. And so if we think of how subtle, right, ether is itself very difficult to even conceive of. A lot of people, need to be shown that ether even exists. You can think of like radio waves or sound waves. The fact that they can travel through the space is basically the capacity of ether. So if we think of how subtle that is, right, so hard to grasp with our senses, the mind is still more subtle, the intelligence is still more subtle, and this false ego, this sense of I, is most subtle. But actually, even more subtle than that is the soul. More subtle than this sense of I is the soul, which is the cause of consciousness. And Prabhupada says that of all things, the soul is most dear to a living entity, right? Dear as in like most precious, most important. Someone could take all my belongings away, my possessions, still I would have my sense of self. They could take my friends, my family, they could take my clothes, my home, everything away from me, but if I still have my sense of self, at least I've got that. So the self is the most dear thing to a living being. But still more dear than the self is the super self. So the Supreme Lord is the most dear thing to every living being. The yogi is one who has gone through this Sankhya yoga system and found the self. And if you also look at, sound travels through space faster than light. And so the more and more subtle you get, the more and more fast you can travel. And so it's explained that yogis who have gone to beyond the level of mind, intelligence, false ego to the soul, they can travel such vast distances in such short instances of moments. It said lava matra sadhu sangha sarva shastra sarva siddhi hoy, that in a lava matra, which is 1/12 of a second, if you just associate with a pure devotee for a 1/12 of a second, like we can't even think of how. If you look on like a digital clock and the seconds are moving, sometimes it has the milliseconds as well. You can't actually like watch the milliseconds change. So we can't even perceive of how fast a 1/12 of a second is. But if you associate with the devotee for a 1/12 of a second, you can have all the perfections available in the Vedas. That means as well that a pure devotee is thinking about Krishna 12 times a second. If you think about it, all of those 1/12ths of a second, every single one of them a pure devotee is absorbed in Krishna. Sometimes we remember Krishna, like maybe 12 times a month, if we're lucky. 12 times a second, a pure devotee is absorbed in Krishna. So like that, the more and more subtle you get, the faster and faster the potency of these elements are. And so a yogi is someone who has gotten to that platform where they can travel on the medium of the soul, not of this gross body, but on the medium of the soul. They can travel such vast distances in such short amounts of time. And so like that, we hear about these personalities like Narad Muni, even the four Kumaras who are now speaking to Pṛthu Mahārāja. And they can travel all over the cosmic universe, just walking. They just walk through space and come to these different planets because they have achieved this yogic perfection. And so to get to a particular planetary system, one needs to have these qualifications. If one has not attained these qualifications, like if I wanted to go to India, right, I can't just buy the plane ticket and go, nor can I just catch a boat or swim there. However I get there, I need to have a visa, right? You're all very fortunate. You have the qualification to go to the most holy country on the planet, but I have to get a visa. That's my qualification. Same way, if one wants to go to the moon planet to meet the demigods who live there, if one wants to go to the sun planet, or if one wants to go to an eternal, spiritual, blissful planet like Goloka Vrindavan, we need to get the qualifications, the visa. So like that, Srila Prabhupada is using this example of the American space race to get to the moon, to remind us of actually this need, this urgent need of Krishna consciousness. Because until we develop that qualification, it's Purusha Prakritisto hi bhunkte prakriti jan gunan, that one will again and again and again, Brahmanda Brahmite kona bhagyavana jiv, will take all these different forms of life, according to the modes of nature that we've just submitted ourselves to. We'll be forced into, rat, cat, dog, tree, banana tree, yellow banana tree, fly, bird. Oh, you want to be a bird? You can be a bird. No. Yeah. But like that, we just get completely subsumed in this ocean. Dhruva Maharaj says, I've forgotten that prayer. Bhuyadananta Mahato Muni. I've forgotten that prayer. But basically that one who is swept up in this ocean of the material modes and forced into all these different species of life, if they just take shelter of the boat of Krishna consciousness in the association of devotees, they can easily cross this ocean. They get the qualification to enter into the eternal blissful planets. And not only that, but in this very life, their consciousness has become absorbed in that platform. So they bring eternality, consciousness, and bliss to the material platform. And they bring Goloka Vrindavan here. The same way when Krishna descends, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Jive Doya Kori, Swaparshada, Swiyadhama, Saha Avatari. When Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, the golden avatar of Krishna who came in Kali Yuga, he descended with all of his associates, and he descended with his own holy dham, right? So when Krishna comes, he brings everything with him. Everything which is transcendental, real, eternal, pure, he brings it. And so we can enter into that eternal life. So yeah, that is our opportunity that has been given by Srila Prabhupada. And Prahlad Maharaj, similarly prays, Swastyastu Vishvasya Kala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitodiya Manascha Badrama Pajathar Dokshajay Aveshyatam No Matir Apyahaituki. My dear Lord, you've given me this very, very rare opportunity. The Supreme Lord himself has given me the opportunity to request anything I want. Imagine if you could request anything you want from the person, the only person who could give you anything. Pṛthu Mahārāja, out of everything he could have asked for, he asks that all envious living beings, everyone who is battling with envy, become awakened to the wonderful activities of Krishna consciousness, so that their minds can become relieved of that envy and they can engage in real welfare activities, which is sharing Krishna with other people. That's Pṛthu Mahārāja's prayer, and that is Srila Prabhupada's mission, right until the very, very last day, translating these books, giving instructions to his disciples how to keep pushing on this movement. And so, for all of us as well, the call is there, How can we increase the glories of Krishna? How can we increase the glories of Pṛthu Mahārāja, who has all of the good qualities of the demigods? Despite our incapacity, Srila Prabhupada says, despite it being irregularly composed, just because we tried, just by trying to glorify that which is already perfect, we become perfect, and the glorification is itself perfect. So, like that, I think we can end the class there. If there are any questions or corrections, anything that needs clarification, please say so. Otherwise, we can get ready for prasadam. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Haribol.
Dhūmrakeśa, Haryakṣa, Draviṇa and Vṛka. I believe Vedic names are very meaningful.
I have no idea, actually. No, I thought I might know one of them, but I don't. I have no idea. Yeah. If you have any, Prabhu, if you can offer any, do you have any insight into anyone? Anyone might know what some of these names might mean. Hare Krishna. Sorry.
You touched upon the Surya-Varsha and Chandra-Varsha, and you even asked the examples of personalities, Bhagavan, Chandra, Krishna. During Maharaja Pṛthu's regime, era, who was the predominating deity of the Pṛthu family?
The predominating deity, or the like emperor, because Pṛthu Mahārāja, right? He is the emperor, but he's not the predominating deity. We heard that in one of his pastimes, right? Pṛthu Mahārāja, he chastises Mother Earth for not producing sufficient grains, despite everybody's performing, pious activities. Still, she's withholding, grains. And so he chastises her, and being frightened, she takes the form of a cow, and she's running through space to escape Pṛthu Mahārāja. Very vivid image, the Mother Earth in the form of a cow running through space, being chased by Pṛthu Mahārāja with his bow ready. From that story we can hear that Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth, herself was the predominating deity of the earth, as far as I can understand. And there's a nice prayer that we can recite in the morning. Samudra Vasane Devi Parvatasthana Mandite Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Padasparsham Kshamaswame. Because actually everywhere we go there are living beings. And if we're supposed to be non-violent, and doing welfare activities for all living beings, then even walking outside is offensive. We're putting our feet on Mother Earth. So like that, this prayer is begging forgiveness from Mother Earth for stepping on her today. So every day we can pray like that. Mother Earth, who is the consort of Vishnu, who is decorated with beautiful mountain peaks, and who is the reservoir of all the oceans, that Bhumi Devi we can request forgiveness for, placing our feet upon. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yes, Sankaparam Prabhu. Yeah. There's a really nice, actually everyone, if you're interested, the Vedic cosmology is very, very detailed and exhaustive, meaning like it covers like everything. Yeah, so in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam there is really, really extensive descriptions of the beautiful like layout of the cosmic egg, basically, which is one universe. So Karanodakashayi Vishnu is lying in the causal ocean. This is an expansion of Sankarshan, who is lying in the causal ocean. With one inhale annihilates all of the millions and millions and millions of universes. With one exhale they come out. Each individual universe is like a golden egg-shaped object. And within that, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, so Vishnu who is lying in the Garbha ocean, on Anantashesh, from his navel comes a lotus stem, and in the lotus flower Lord Brahma emerges with all other living beings emerging. and so like that, the secondary creation takes place where Lord Brahma arranges all of these ingredients like an architect kind of thing, and brings the material creation into being. And so the fifth canto explains all the different planetary systems within one universe, and how we on the Bhumandala, so like the disk, which is our sort of planetary system, which is the middle of 14 planetary systems. We're number 7 or 8, and so situated there on this big disk, right on the top, there are many different sort of portions, and we're in one of the central ones. But above that, it's explained that the moon is very, very far away, further away than the sun. His Grace Ganesham Prabhu explains this really nicely. He's got like 5 lectures, about an hour in length each, and he explains that whole canto basically, all of the descriptions of the Vedic cosmology. And he explains how it is that the moon can be further away than the sun. You've got the earth in the middle of this disk. The sun is horizontally out here, rotating around the Bhumandala, and the moon is vertically much further away, but horizontally much closer to the planet Earth. And it is itself rotating. Everything, all the planets, all the stars, everything is rotating around Dhūmrakeśa, which is sort of like the top of the chandelier. And Dhūmrakeśa is also called Shvetadvip, like the white island where Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is lying in the milk ocean. So that is actually a Vaikuntha planet. There is one Vaikuntha planet, eternal spiritual planet in the universe, and around that everything else circumambulates. So the moon is up in the heavenly regions, circumambulating that pole star. The earth is down on this disk, and the sun is also rotating just above the earth. So it's closer vertically, but horizontally it's actually further. And that's how it appears to be further away. Like that, there are lots of descriptions given that don't have to be necessarily contradictory to science, and they don't have to be contradictory to our intuitive reasoning. It is all quite complicated, so having someone like Ganesham Prabhu explain it very in-depth like that is quite helpful. So I don't know, hopefully that answers the question. I can't say whether the moon journey was bona fide or not. But I know Chaitanya Charan Prabhu also speaks about this very intelligently, and yeah, gives some logical explanations for how we can understand what Srila Prabhupada has said about it, and how we can understand it ourselves as well, according to that. Okay, Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanandi.